We now know who's going to play Mater Dei and St. John Bosco in the Division I quarterfinals. Let's go ahead and start with that. Hey, what's going on? I'm your host of Friday Night Football, John W. Davis, and Sierra Canyon with a 38-14 win over Servite. A big game from Dane Dunn on the ground. A solid game by Wyatt Becker, the Utah commit, as the quarterback. And then they just got it done. 38-14 against Servite. And so number 8 seed Sierra Canyon will now play number 1 seed Mater Dei. I think that's probably the game everybody thought it was going to be. And now Sierra Canyon gets their shot at Mater Dei. And then on the other side of the bracket, Santa Margarita with a huge win over Inglewood, 59-26. And so number 7 seed Santa Margarita will now play at number 2 seed St. John Bosco. And pretty much now, other than Mission Viejo and Centennial, everybody else, not everybody, everybody else in Division 1 is Trinity League. Am I wrong about that? I don't think so. Am I missing one? So we got, Olu. Yep. That's where we're at right now with the Trinity League. So it's basically going to be some rematches there. Now, we do know that on the Bosco side of the bracket, there's Orange Lutheran and J. Sarah. And so that's just going to be rematches all the way to whoever gets to the final. But then on the Mater Dei side, it can get interesting on that side. They got to play Sierra Canyon. They have to play, Mission Viejo or Centennial. So Mater Dei is going to be playing a lot of new teams, a lot of non-league teams. And then Bosco and Olu and Santa Margarita and J. Sarah, they're just going to be battling out to see who's going to get to the other side of that championship game. But let's talk about Division II real quick. Marietta Valley with a big 49-42 win over Rancho Cucamonga. Oh, my goodness. That was a back-and-forth game. Dorian Hose had 5 rushing touchdowns in that game. Bear Bachmeyer played well. Jacob Chambers was playing well. I mean, it was a back-and-forth game. It's a shame someone had to lose, but that's what happens in the CIF Southern Section playoffs. I mean, it just is what it is. Los Alamitos with a big win, 36-22 over Lusinger. Now, Los Alamitos came into this game as the favorite in Cal Preps, but there were some prognosticators, myself included. I apologize to Los Alamitos. There was a couple people who picked Lusinger to win that game, but Los Alamitos, they came out, took care of business, and they did what they had to do, and that's a good sign as they head into their Division II quarterfinal against Marietta Valley. All right, let's run down some of these a little quicker then. Sarah, big win over Downey, 28-7. I mean, Sarah just did their thing offensively, defensively, caused turnovers. It was pretty simple. Yorba Linda, 42-32 over Chaparral, so that's a big win for them. San Clemente with a huge 42-7 win over Damien. So they put Damien out the playoffs in Division III. Simi Valley, the number 1 seed there, 49-47 over Notre Dame. Man, that was a shootout out there. Bryce Hawkins had 5 touchdowns in that game. So shout out to that man. La Habra, 27-24 over Maricosa. And then check this out. So we had one of our first controversies of the CIF Southern Section playoffs. Crean Lutheran with a 20-17 win on what some people are going to say is a controversial fumble. Some people are going to say it was a forward pass. It was ruled a lateral. Crean Lutheran recovered it. They just had a couple seconds left. The senior kicker, Connor Stevens, makes the kick. And that's the game. And that's the second time that Milliken has lost by, just a couple points, by a score or less in the Division III playoffs. It's the first 2 times they made it up to Division III, and both times have ended in first-round losses. And this time, it was even a home game for them. So I'm sure that's a devastating loss over there for the Rams. Bonita improves to 11-0, so shout out to them. They beat Cathedral. Hey, 11-0. Shout out to them. Shout out to those guys over there. Cajon, 52-22 over Chino Hills. So Chino Hills, they just couldn't handle Cajon's passing game, and that was pretty much the difference in that game. Division 4, we had a barn burner. Defensively, Redondo 7, Aquinas 6. Cole Leinert led them on their scoring touchdown, and that was it. So shout out to both defenses, and shout out to Cole Leinert, who recently committed to SMU. So that's a big win for them. Apple Valley, big win over Charter Oak, 35-6. Culver City with a 3-point win over Capistrano Valley. And I understand that Culver City's quarterback, Seth Shigg, had more than 500 total yards of offense. And I looked the man up. He is committed to Army. So not only can he run, because this is a track guy who has placed at the state meet several times, but he can also throw, man. Army football is going to be something. They're already doing well, and check them out in the future when they decide to start Seth Shigg, because I just don't see, if he goes to Army, I just don't see how they don't end up starting him at some point. Long Beach Poly, 28-19 win over Northview. So this ends Northview's season. Northview was 10-0 coming into the game. Poly was 5-5 coming into the game, but Poly sophomore running back Benjamin Harris, this is a 10-3, 10-4 track guy. And he had 132 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and they just used that speed. There was a 22-0 run in the middle of the game by Poly, and that was pretty much the difference. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The last time Poly was in Division 4, they won a CIF Southern Section championship, which was their 20th one in school history, and that was back in 2021. But I will tell you, the last time they were in D4, they rolled through D4. There was not a 9-point win like this Northview game was. So just let that be what it is. Don't necessarily think that Long Beach Poly is just going to roll through Division 4 just because it's Long Beach Poly. Will they win it? Definitely. They definitely got a chance to win it, but nothing is for sure and nothing is a given like it might have seemed the first year when we had this Cal Preps bracket and everything shook out that way with competitive equity. Let me get through a couple more of these. Thousand Oaks, 14-10 win over St. Paul. That was a tough way to go out for St. Paul. Stopped about 4 yards short of the end zone on the final play. They thought they got out of bounds, but they were ruled in bounds, and that was it. Huntington Beach, Brady Edmonds, that 5-star sophomore quarterback, a big game for them. 56-39 over Western. That was a shootout. Just an Orange County shootout. Teams that know each other, teams that play each other often. They've got history, and they did what they had to do. And Huntington Beach is the number 1 seed in Division 5. And that's the thing. Anytime somebody is the number 1 seed in one of these divisions, they got a little lucky because they were right on the cutoff of being the number 16 seed in the higher division. So Huntington Beach is supposed to be winning these games, especially an early round game. Summit 37-7 over Torrance. Lacerna 28-7 over Troy. Lakewood with a big 50-26 win over Valencia. Cade Casillas had 3 total touchdowns in that game. Mayfair always comes up in the playoffs. I've never not seen Mayfair football make a run. Last year they won Division 7. This year they're in Division 5. They played Huntington Beach earlier this year and didn't beat them. Is that the matchup that is coming towards? I don't know. Mayfair played Lakewood earlier in this season. It was an overtime game. They beat them. Is that another matchup we got that's going to happen? Who knows? But Mayfair is a good team. Lakewood's a good team. Huntington Beach is a good team. Division 5 is a good division, y'all. Just so keep an eye out on that. And Palos Verdes 16-10 over Brea Olinda. So I believe that was Brea Olinda's first loss of the season. First and only loss. So shout out to them for a great season, if that's the case. Muir pulled it out against Shore, 22-19. St. Francis with a big 50-22 win over Calabasas. Northwood 34, Ayala 20. Murrieta Mesa 42-0 against Ontario Christian. Rancho Verde 47-34 over Hart. And understand Rancho has won 6 of their last 7 games. So they're rolling through the playoffs, y'all. West Torrance with a big win, their first playoff win in 10 years. So shout out to them. 24-20 in Division 7. King moves on in Division 7. Warren moves on in Division 7. Peninsula moves on in Division 7. Division 9, I want to give a shout out to the Long Beach Wilson Bruins. 42-13 over Victor Valley. Understand senior running back Deuce Weston had 3 touchdowns. This is a transfer from Lawndale. And this is a recruitable, signable Division I prospect, y'all. Don't be surprised if he signs Division I and, he did his thing in the game. This was Wilson's first playoff win since 2019. First time in the playoffs since 2019, and so it was a first win as well. So they don't go out one and done. Shout out to them. Division 10, St. Anthony, the number 1 seed there, 31-14 over South Hills. Pacifica won a defensive battle, 7-3 over La Cañada. Valley View, 35-3 over Moreno Valley. And I got a city section game. North Hollywood improves to 11-0, taking down Granada Hills, 36-30. All right, so let's talk about it, y'all. Is Mater Dei just going to roll over Sierra Canyon, or is that going to be a game? Is St. John Bosco going to be able to handle, having an off week, or not an off week, a bye week when Santa Margarita is starting to roll? They're picking up wins now. They beat Servite. They just beat Inglewood. Like, does Santa Margarita have some momentum heading into this game against Bosco? I think that's something to watch. This Corona Centennial Mission Viejo game, I can't call it. I just don't know what's going to happen in that game. But I will say, I believe that whoever wins that game is going to give the winner of the Mater Dei Sierra Canyon game a game. So if it's Mater Dei, I think Mission Viejo is going to give them a good game if Mission gets in there. If Centennial gets in there, they're going to give them a good game because they played them once already, and they didn't play them at full strength. And that was a long time ago in the season. And that pace that Centennial plays with, that's hard on anybody. And so, if Centennial beats Mission Viejo, they're going to get Mater Dei at home. That changes everything. And yeah, and even Mission could get them at home with the coin flip. That could change everything if Mater Dei has to go on the road in the semifinals. If they're at home, they definitely got the big advantage. And then on the Bosco side, it's the 4 of the Trinity League teams playing to see who's going to make the championship. It kind of just is what it is. I guess it would have been cool if, you could have put Mission on one side and Centennial on the other side, but they just went by the rankings. If you were actually balancing this out, you would put them on the other side, but because they don't do it that way, they just pretty much do it based off CalPrep's rankings and just put them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how it shook out. They were the 4 or 5, but it really would have been cool to see maybe Mission or Centennial on the other side of the bracket so that this bottom side of the bracket, the Bosco side, isn't just Trinity League playing against Trinity League. Everybody's playing each other for the second time this season. I won't say it's boring, but it could be better. Because, the second time you play a team, if you beat them, we'll say that you're better because you won the last one, but realistically, you're only 1-1 against that team for the whole season. But, I'm expecting, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm expecting a Bosco Olu game because I think Olu has a lot of, experience. I believe Olu's only 3 losses are to, Bosco, Mater Dei, and Bishop Gorman. Some people could argue those are the 3 top teams in the nation. So Olu can play. And if Olu gets, another chance at Bosco, they could win. If Olu gets another chance at Mater Dei and the ball bounces the right way, they could win. I'm not going to sit up here and say that Mater Dei, you just crown them and say they're going to win it. I know some people have done that. But I don't like to do that because it's high school football. You never know what's going to happen. You can predict it. You can project it. And if you're going to say Mater Dei is most likely going to win the Division I playoffs, I agree with you. But to say for sure that they're going to win before they even play, I don't think you can do that. Because, you can't determine how the ball is going to bounce. You can't determine if, someone fumbles or, a ball is tipped and it's intercepted and then that's 6 points and that happens again, it's another 6. Crazy things can happen in football games, especially high school. So we have to keep that in mind. We have to keep that in mind with the analysis. I know this is a really long video. I want to know what you think. Tell me what you think about the first round of CIF Southern Section playoffs. What do you think about the first round of LA City Section? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. I'm John W. Davis, your host of Friday Night Football for the Southern California News Group. Check us out. We do live updates every week where I'm following all of these games and curating and figuring out like who's doing what and who we want to follow and who to feature and different things like that. Got a lot of video interviews. I love doing these video recaps for you. So, hey, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.